Yo, Lisa McWinning here. So same day, June 30th, 2026. So after I filmed that last video about like the amount of coping strategies I was using at like 7:06 in the morning, um, I went into my bathroom and there was an earwig crawling around, and it's been crawling around for several hours, and I was getting like really creeped out. So I had this like Tim Hortons cup that had never been used, and so I um, put a piece of paper in front of the earwig and picked it up on the paper, and then I put it in the Tim Hortons cup and quickly put the lid on it, and then like fucking creepily as hell took it out on my balcony and took the lid off and fucking shook the cup onto the balcony and let the fucking thing go. And this neighborhood is like overrun with I think carpenter ants and earwigs and stuff. So I imagine, and I live on the fifth floor, so there's a lot of them if they're up here looking for food, obviously, maybe. Um, Look how black my eye looks, eh? Um, I think I'm suffering from internal bleeding. Um, I got taken down by the police, hard on my stomach, and I don't know why they did that. I was already contained, so I don't know if they already knew I was pregnant somehow. And, because I'm creeped out because the satellites all over the planet, have the ability to monitor our heart rate and blood pressure and shit. So that might explain why ambulances are showing up at people's doors and shit when you don't call them. And yeah, why, mental health professionals are showing up when no one calls them, and the police. So I'm getting really creeped out. So anyway, so I went into my bathroom and like captured the earwig, and then became aware of all the bathroom badly need cleaned, and that's overwhelming to me. And then I became aware that my teeth were dirty, so I brushed my teeth. And then I went on the balcony to get rid of the earwig, and then I see the bird crap all over the balcony, and I'm like, fuck, that needs clean. I go into the kitchen to make a cup of coffee, and the dishes are piled up, and like I'm losing my shit because I have so much to do. Like I feel like completely overwhelmed. So, but first and foremost, my stomach was badly cramping from, I think, the oatmeal that my friend gave me. And he gave me a jar of peanut butter. It's called like Nuts for You or something like that. I had 2 slices of toast last night with that on it. So I don't know if that's what's cramping it up. It's a Canadian product from Brantford, but like, fuck. So everything causes me stomach cramps. So the best thing, I've tried laxatives and stuff, but they take too long. So the best thing I've found is to lie on my stomach. I've tried massaging my stomach, and that works too, but it's extremely painful. So I find that lying on my stomach, and just lie there until it feels better, things start to move around, like your stomach, your bowels start to move around, because it is probably a bit of a blockage. And the stool might be too hard or too firm. Maybe so a little bit of massage can help, like break it up. You know what I mean? Make it softer and make it move through the intestines a little easier. But I want to show you, ladies. See how fucking triggering this is, right? To a guy who's watching this shit. Like I don't know, like you can see, but see how fucking triggering that can be. So I also have like back end trauma, and so when I lie on my stomach, and maybe some of you can relate, I feel like I'm going to be like raped or abused somehow, or that it's an invitation somehow, even though I live alone. Like I feel, or because I think there's cameras all in here, so I feel like there's like, creepoids like watching, and with the satellites, like I googled Earth just around my neighborhood and somehow managed to get into the Cummins Children's Learning Center without even like putting in any instructions to Google Earth. So like there's no such thing as privacy, and we're all aware of that on some unconscious level, which could be causing like the overall tension on the planet, because we there's no such thing as privacy. We have no idea what they're doing with our information. We have no idea what they're doing with our pictures. We have no idea who's watching, what they're doing, are they like who they're sending them to. So overall, my DVD player has a fucking camera, my stereo has a camera, my TV has a camera. I have a friend who her ex was like tapping into the camera on her TV and watching what she was doing in the living room, and told her that, and she had to hire someone, a criminal, to get to interrupt that um his ability to tap into her camera, like, or into her TV. There's fucking drones everywhere. Like, if you're spying on anyone, if you're watching anybody other than yourself, fuck off. Honestly, because who you're watching is maybe watching you. Do you not understand that? You think you're safe because you've tapped into your ex's phone, or you've tapped into, a daycare. Do you not understand that they're watching you as well, right? And the ones they're watching are being watched by somebody else. There's always someone with a bigger gun, right? So unless someone has explicitly posted something with permission, like I'm doing on YouTube, I've given you permission to watch these videos. That's it. Anybody else who's tapped into my apartment, tapped into my phone, tapped into my stereo, my fucking TV, get the fuck out of my shit, because someone is watching you as well, right? The feds too. You think this is fucking fun while you're monitoring people's safety? Oh, did you see the tits on that chick? Did you see the ass on that chick? And if you have a coworker that's saying this shit on the job, tell them to shut the fuck up. And if they won't, report them to the management. Like, you need to stop this shit, right? The victimization of women and children and men, little boys, everybody needs to fucking stop. And women, you need to stop videotaping yourself like this. You need to understand that some of this shit is triggering. And if we're going to, work on exposure and not thinking of that in a sexual way, because now we all do, then we need to do it gradually, right? So anyway, where was I? The pain in my stomach subsiding. So I'm overwhelmed as fuck. And so I try to do a to-do list, because I find that if something's, so let's say I need to go get x-rays or something, and I don't write it down on a to-do list, every 30 minutes it pops in my mind, oh, I need to get x-rays, and then I think about something else. Oh, I need to get x-rays, and then I think about something else. So even if you put it on your calendar, your day timer, pick a day. If you need to change the day, that's okay. But if you've set an appointment, make sure you give them time. If you can't, like, give them the 24 hours they're asking for. Be realistic with the dates you set. If you've got a really busy day that day and they say, how's September 3rd? And you're like, I feel pressured to take this date. Don't. Just say that day doesn't work for me. Can we do it a week later? Like, when my schedule's absolutely clear. Don't pick a week where you've got a gazillion things, because chances are you'd be overwhelmed. Maybe something interfere. Book it a week after that. Or if you pick a date and suggest that to the people that are making the appointment. Does September 3rd work? Does, whatever, right? Like, be realistic when you're setting appointments, and don't feel pressured by people who are trying to fill schedules, because sometimes it's a money thing, right? Sometimes their boss is forcing them to book appointments because they want to make more money, if it's a paid service, or even an OHIP service, right? If they want to make more money, maybe they cram everybody in on a particular day. So now I'm about to do a to-do list. First and foremost, I need to take care of my health. If I'm in that much pain, like, if you're in pain, try my other videos on yoga ease, chair yoga, Bhajoga. Like, those are very simple exercises to manage pain without medication, and they work fairly quickly. Same with stomach problems, massaging, even placing a hand, even having a loved one place their hand on your belly can make things move. I did that for a friend who had a blockage. I just put a hand on his belly, and just that show of concern, things started to move, right? I could feel his stomach start to gurgle, and things started to move. So intention can work. So physical health is very important, because if I go on with my day and I'm feeling my stomach is that cramped, then my tolerance level is going to be about this big for anything. Stress, the garbage needing taken out, like, everything is going to seem insurmountable. So first and foremost, take care of your physical health. If that means getting up, getting your whole family up an hour early to do stretches, right? Like, this shit is important, because what we take out into the day, like, changes the whole planet, right? The ripple effect. I talked to you about that book called Embracing the Light. she talks about the review at the end of the light and end of life, and she talks about the fact that we have to see not only the bad things we do and how they rippled out into the universe, but the good things that we do that ripple out into the universe, right? So don't think that just your bad things are going to ripple out into the universe. When you hold a door for someone when you're not feeling well and you go out of your way to hold the door for someone, the universe and God is going to see that kind of like that gift in the Bible. The poorest woman gave 10 pence, and it may seem nothing compared to what the rich were pouring into the basket, but it was that she actually cared enough to think of someone who was less than. Maybe that money was going to maintain the building that she prayed in, or maintain the road in front, or pay the person that lights the candles, or the priest or whatever, right? Or the nuns, right? Like, it's important to remember that a little bit of sacrifice, and it doesn't have to be huge, but a little bit of sacrifice. And sometimes, holding a door for someone is a massive sacrifice for someone else who really isn't feeling it or feels really victimized by society. So remember to say thank you. And remember to grab the door so they don't have to stand there and hold it for you. Take the door when you get close enough. Take the door and say, thank you, I got it now. Thank you, I really appreciate that, right? Like, don't walk through the door and expect them to hold the door the whole time you walk through, which I've noticed teenagers do. Grab the fucking door, right? I'm not your fucking maid. And where was I? So my stomach feels a lot better, so I'm about to do a to-do list. So first was physical health. I already did some yoga ease. I felt my back feels better. And so first and foremost, today is the 30th. I get my money today. My cable, phone, and my rent and hydro are paid automatically. Although I want to check and make sure that that's up to date. So I'll probably phone the office here and ask them for a list of payments to make sure they're being paid. I'll probably pay telephone banking to pay my internet, cable, and home phone. I'll pay that telephone banking because today's the 30th and the bill is due on July 9th. So I have to pay it today because it takes like 4 days or something for the bank to register it. Um, the other day, I've asked companies, like if I get all my money on the 15th, for example, I've asked companies to like pay, like, uh, charge me a month and then half a month, so that my due date is now on the 15th or the 19th. Like if it takes 4 days for the bill to register, then ask for the due date to be the 19th or something in the middle of the month, if that works better for you. That it costs you a little bit more initially. They'll charge you like a month and a half to get that. And some companies aren't willing, but some companies will adjust the due date because that does affect your credit rating. So paying your bills on time can give you better credit. So yeah, it's a fairly simple thing you can do to just, arrange it to when you will always have the money, and then you can budget better. If your bill is due on the 15th and you get paid on the 1st, then yeah, you can set aside money on the 1st and then pay it right away, and then the 15th. And if you know basically how much it is, then yeah, it's a good way to start building credit with companies. And if they see you consistently pay, like I'm having trouble with Freedom, they shut down my phones. I paid half a month and I told them I would pay like the balance on the 1st of the next month, and they shut down both my phones, like just shut them down. So I'm refusing to pay the bill because Bell's done that to me. Freedom's done it to me more than once. So I'm just refusing to pay the bill. And I wrote to the CRTC. So I'm in the collection agency and I don't care. I'm not paying the bill. So I'm about to write to the CRTC again and tell them that they're harassing me to pay this bill when it's a protest. And they do this because they know it affects your credit rating, so that when you go to the bank for loans and things like that, you can't get them car loans and stuff like that. But I don't care anymore. I'm not going to buy a house because I'm 55. I'm not going to get into a mortgage now, so they can suck my dick. They keep using Bell and Apple were both fined for tampering with the battery life of their products to make you buy more products, right? So yeah, and Bell's shut down my phones before, more than once. So yeah, so they can suck my dick. Um, anyway, where was I going with that? Yeah, so my belly feels better. So priority today is bill payments, and some cleaning. So I also have to get the three basics: coffee, um, oatmeal, and sugar today, which involves going to probably about three different stores to get those. They're all in my neighborhood, thankfully. So I'm going to probably clean the bathroom and maybe do some of the dishes. I'm going to close the drapes on the balcony because I probably won't get to it. It might go on the list as a maybe, but yeah, I'm going to do a to-do list to keep me focused. So that's pay the bills. Um, I'll probably put aside the making sure the rent's getting paid because I assume OW is doing their job. And I assume that, and I haven't heard any different. So I'm going to pay my bills. I'm going to wipe down the bathroom floor in particular because that's what's bothering me most is the bathroom floor. And then I'm going to do some of the dishes, and then I'm going to get some oatmeal, some coffee, and some sugar. And at least I'll have something fairly nutritious to eat for dinner. And the oatmeal seems to fill me up a good amount. So and yeah, and I might get a Tim's card too, because that makes more sense than trying to scrounge for money in the middle of the month. I had a friend too that if when he was on a limited budget, he would buy a grocery card so that halfway through the month he didn't spend the money on something else. It doesn't necessarily guarantee because some people will sell the gift card for $10 to get smokes, but you can at least you have something to liquidate. But it does put like a buffer in between you and the money. You know what I mean? Like it might make you think of problem solve something else rather than spend the grocery card or sell the grocery card. It can put a little bit of distance between you and impulsively buying cigarettes, and maybe I use a wood dowel or cut a pencil and pretend to be smoking. That seems to be very fairly effective for me. That's what I did in jail. There's also a book by Alan Carr. It's called The Easy Way to Stop Smoking. It's literally like this big. It even has pictures. I read it in an hour and a half. If you finish the book, a lot of people will stop smoking entirely after finishing the book, but you have to finish the book because partway through my mind started to wanted to escape. Oh, I want to put it down and go, have a smoke, or I want to put it down and go do dishes, or I want to go down and put a bath, or I should go check on so and so. Try to finish the book. Like, try to be aware of your mind going, don't finish this book, because that's your denial wanting to lie to you to keep you addicted, because that's what we think is what's helping us. So it seems like the solution. So, of course, your mind's going to go, no, we can't get rid of smoking because else are we going to cope, right? So, that's two suggestions. Yeah, I picked up this feather. I'm starting to reclaim feathers. It's pretty hacked up. I don't know if it's been run over or whether the bird was murdered. I'm finding birds slaughtered in my neighborhood. So I'm reclaiming feathers. So I might just put this where I can see it. Crows, I heard it's very rare to find crow's feathers, but I find them everywhere. And I'm just going to give this feather a little bit of love because yeah, I, I feel bad for the animals. But other than that, those are the things that are going to physically get written on a list today because when I can cross them off and put a check mark beside them, I feel like I'm accomplishing something. Sometimes I'll put very basic things like showering, dressing on the list. Yeah, so I see that. I move my head a lot. Maybe that's very stressful for people. The other thing, if you have ADHD, they often prescribe Ritalin, which is a stimulant, which is why maybe some ADHD people smoke because it's a stimulant. I find if you're very sensitive to caffeine, but a little caffeine may help. I'll mix a caffeinated coffee in with a little bit of decaf. If you're brewing it, even instant coffee, you can do that and mix it in one container, and that way, to amount that you're okay with, or even if that's too much, if you want to choose, then have a bag or a tin of caffeinated coffee and a bag, a tin or coffee of decaf coffee, And then, if you feel like you're a little edgy, instead of picking up a cigarette that day or a pack of cigarettes, maybe try to add a little bit of caffeine to your day, and maybe that might get you over the hurdle. You know, balance, right? Because coffee is a good diuretic too, so it keeps you regular. If you're stressed out, you might be holding your urine because the bowels shut down during a certain amount of stress. But then if it's too much stress, the bowels actually release, and the urine actually releases. So I'm having trouble urinating, and I don't know whether it's on a spiritual level or whether it's just a great amount of stress, but I'm having trouble controlling my urine, which I've never had a problem with. So it can be too much caffeine if you're drinking too much coffee. So yeah, if you're drinking too much coffee, you might want to buy a bag of decaf and a bag of caffeinated and mix them. It can be spiritual. Maybe you're under spiritual attack, so maybe cleansing your environment or saying a prayer. It can be physical, yeah, but try those things first. And see if that does, because it's very embarrassing to, it can be drinking too much, right? Or medication, if you're too passed out, like if you're too solidly asleep, your mind won't register that you need to use the bathroom. So go back to the basics, urinate before you go to sleep. When don't hold your urine, empty your bladder completely, things like that. Just because I'm having trouble, and it's very embarrassing because I go out for the afternoon and I'm aware that I'm smelling, that I have to do the laundry like when I get home, and the home start to smell. So yeah, so that I'm having problems with, and I have been drinking a lot of caffeinated coffee, and yeah, so and I think there's more caffeine in things which could be throwing us off too, it's a diuretic. Tea is a diuretic, which makes you urinate more. So yeah, at one point I was having trouble when I was drifting off to sleep. I felt like I was going to urinate myself, but my doctor mentioned that maybe I was drinking too much caffeine. And so I was very aware of how much tea I was drinking. So yeah, so mixing decaf with, or yeah, cutting back, trying to flavored water, put, I don't know, um, a little sugar or vinegar and oil in water. You can get some flavored oils. There's a shop downtown across from the Harveys on Gordon. It's called the Olive Experience. They sell beautiful oils, flavored oils, and beautiful balsamic vinaigrettes and things flavored. Again, it was $15 for a small bottle, but I was amazed how long it lasted. It's almost like a spiritual thing. It's amazing how long it lasted. I basted my turkey in the lime olive oil. It was really nice. And yeah, I added a little bit to water, oil and vinegar to water, and especially flavored oil and vinegar and water. And yeah, it's a very good way to get your nutrients. It does coat your cup with the oil, but I didn't find this oil was terribly oily. It was very strange. It was, yeah. And if you have a ceramic cup, that'll absorb the oil as opposed to plastic or glass. If you have like a stoneware cup, will probably absorb the oil better, so it won't seem quite so slimy and hard to clean. But a good soap and water cleaning can get the oil off. So it's just, I have also in jail, when I was really struggling, I'd put salt and pepper in a glass of water or warm water, just because, when you're that bored and that intensely stressed out, ingesting anything, any kind of self-love was very important. So, and I didn't use the salt and pepper for my food, so I'd often have an abundance of them. So when I was really struggling and really needing something, I would put salt and pepper in a glass of water or warm water, and use that. So yeah, just suggestions on trying to get away from coffee intake, water more. um, yeah, so, and I'll say my prayers, get down on my knees and say my prayers, because I'm looking at my cross that I put in my living room. Can you see the cross? Where's the cross? Where's the cross? Where's the cross? Where's the cross? Can you see my cross? This cross, my dad was having an operation in in a hospital. He was having his kidney removed because it was cancerous, and um, we were in the gift shop, and my mom bought me this cross, and it's got little gemstones, and it says spiritual directions, and I kept the tag, and it says something about that, and it says hope in the middle, And it's just something that crosses weren't originally like a Christian thing. A crucifix is definitely a Catholic thing because that's a symbol that Jesus died on the cross. And if you're not there, a cross, I can't remember what it says. Maybe I'll read it and then post it next time as to what it said because I can't read it with all the lights. But a cross wasn't originally a Christian thing. You might want to Google what the original meaning was. Just like a swastika wasn't originally a racist thing. It was apparently a good luck symbol, and now it's become a racist thing. But some people who reclaim words, such as queer, for example, some people will reclaim symbols just to like help reduce the stigma around them and get back to the original meaning, which was maybe not how a dictator or a villain used them. Because often, I think criminal behavior or what we consider psychotic behavior is often stems from childhood trauma, and that hasn't been greatly explored, unfortunately. So, it'd be nice to think, try to instead of jumping to conclusions where people are concerned, and I'm very guilty of that. Maybe try to explore, even not necessarily ask them, but try to do some research, which I may do on today too, on some religious beliefs that I'm having troubles with, such as Islam and stuff. See where the basis is. So, because I see how yellow my hair looks. That's kind of what I was going for, was yellow. I guess it's kind of looking yellow, kind of cool. I was going for yellow. Yeah, and I wanted to buy dye for my hair today too, but I'm looking for yellow, so it's actually getting quite yellow. That's pretty cool. All right, peace, grooviness.